Where a jury selection has now been continued until next week in the highly anticipated Suitcase murder trial. The defendant there, Sarah Boone, she's accused of killing her boyfriend by zipping him up in a suitcase and leaving him there to die. Boone told investigators that she and George Torres had been playing a game of hide and seek and that she assumed that he could get out of that suitcase. So there have been a lot of breaking news details today. Let's bring in live now from Orlando, Florida, Court TV legal correspondent Kelly Craft with us there on the ground. Kelly, so many changes today. What can you tell us about these latest developments?
Well, hi there, Julia. Yes, a lot of big developments here in Orlando for this case. We have been anxiously awaiting the start of this murder case against Sarah Boone, but today another delay. So in the past, we've had lots of delays because Sarah Boone was going through so many attorneys filing motions and doing many other things that this trial has been postponed many, many times. And today, another postponement because of the impending storm. A state of emergency has been issued for this area because the hurricane is expected to hit. So today, the chief judge presiding over this case said that jury selection, which was supposed to take place this morning, now will not take place until next Monday. Let's go ahead and listen to the chief judge as he made this announcement today in court.
Due to the potential storm and the ramifications of it, the court is going to postpone jury selection in this matter till Monday, October 14th at 9 a.m.
So we have a huge crew here from Court TV on the ground, Julia. We were waiting for this case to begin, but of course, over the last few days, we heard about this other hurricane that is expected to hit here and around the Orlando area. And so then you heard the chief judge there saying that things are going to be postponed until next Monday.
No, it's good to take those precautions, but certainly that does shake things up there inside the courtroom. And speaking of shakeups, we learned on the record today something about a deal that was offered to Sarah Boone. What can you tell us about that?
There certainly was the plea offer made to Sarah Boone this morning before things got going. And of course, Julie, if she would have accepted this, then things would have been more or less over for Sarah Boone in regards to what the impending trial was going to be, et cetera. So she was offered a plea deal of 15 years for manslaughter. She's already been behind bars for several years. So then she would have had to serve the rest of this term, but she rejected that. Let's go ahead and listen to some sound from this morning regarding that plea offer.
Do you understand that if we were to proceed to trial in this matter, and if you were found guilty, the lowest permissible sentence that the court could levy in this case would be 22.5 years in the Department of Corrections? Do you understand that? Do you understand the state's offer to resolve this case? Yes. Okay.
The offer is 15 years to a lesser included charge of manslaughter, with the understanding that she would serve 85% of that sentence.
That's up to the department and her behavior, but that is my understanding of the section.
Ma'am, understanding the state's offer, do you wish to accept or reject the state's offer to resolve this case?
Reject.
So you heard Sarah Boone there rejecting the state's offer of 15 years to manslaughter. So Sarah Boone did not want that. She is going to move forward with this trial with her attorney. And then, of course, if she is found guilty of second-degree murder, you heard the judge there talk about it, she would be sentenced up to 22.5 years behind bars for the second-degree murder offense if jurors found her guilty of that one, Julia. So some big developments here in Orlando in spite of the trial being postponed, the start of it till next week. But that plea deal, and then, of course, now jury selection, not till Monday.
All right, Kelly Craft, thank you for the latest there from Orlando. We'll let you go. Let's bring in our guest for this hour. Marjorie Mesidor is with us. Marjorie, trial attorney in New York City. Marjorie, a lot happened today in this case. We were waiting for opening statements to be starting this week, jury selection to start today. But let me first just ask you, before we talk about that deal that we heard the defendant reject, jury selection being postponed for a week. I mean, we were expecting that there could be some issues with the weather in that area, and Wednesday we knew that the courthouse was going to be closed, but now the entire week so that things can start up on Monday.
Well, jury selection being postponed due to weather reasons is going to be for the safety of all jurors, and including all the court and staff, right? So that in and of itself, it happening now rather than in the middle of the trial while somebody's on the stand or while a portion of the jury has already been selected, just has a way of just really disturbing the momentum and the flow of the trial in that regard. So it happening now is actually a bit, serendipitous for all sides, so that they know that when they start, they'll be able to continue to the end.
So the other news that I really want to get your opinion on, this has to do with this plea deal. And we've known that there was a plea deal in this case for a long time. We didn't know the exact numbers because she's had so many attorneys. She's had, this is her 9th attorney, so 8 other attorneys that things just simply didn't work out with for one reason or the other. And now we know on the record that the state was offering her a plea deal of 15 years. 85% of that is what is typically the standard that she would have to serve. If you do the numbers, it looks like it would be closer to about 10 years, but then if you subtract the 4, I mean, she could be looking at a much lower sentence because she's already served 4 years. In looking at Sarah Boone sitting there and her attorney sitting next to her, what do you think the dynamic is in terms of who wants this deal and who is saying it's a good idea and who's saying absolutely not?
I think that it's very clear that it's Sarah Boone who is saying that this is not a good idea. In her rejection of the plea deal, she almost seemed defiant. I think that any attorney looking at the facts of this case, looking at the evidence that is amounting against her, as well as how much time she will actually end up serving, is going to encourage the client at least to give this some deep, thoughtful consideration. We also have the history of the fact that this is her 9th attorney. So having gone through 8 attorneys, it may be that she is taking a very strong stance that she will see this through verdict, regardless of what happens in the interim. So I think that if we're going to be looking at who wants this deal and who doesn't, if I had to place my bets, I would say that the attorney probably wants it, or at least wants it to be seriously considered, and it is Ms. Boone who flatly wants to reject it.
Yes, I'm thinking about just seeing her sitting there in the courtroom. It does seem like she's very much determined and is in control of her defense, which is likely what she wanted from the very beginning and couldn't get that from those 8 attorneys. We're going to get to a break, and perhaps in a week we'll learn more from Sarah Boone about what she wants to do with that deal because, again, jury selection postponed due to weather.